now maybe switch gears and talk about cookieless a little bit. I'm all like,
Yeah.
that's another term that's been used widely, and where does it stand in this day and age, and how can it apply here?
Yeah, it's a great question. As everyone today leans into what's the future with cookie deprecation, cookie going away, you might expect, and for sure has happened, that there has been a slew of marketing and companies saying, I have cookieless technology. And of course, if the topic and pain point is cookies going away, you're going to expect a ton of companies to say, well, now I have a cookieless plan, right? And that's a word. It's a frame. How do we think about what does it really mean, and how do you really define it, right? So in the past, and even I would say the past decade, and certainly even now, most people have cookieless solutions, and they are focused on what is called a mobile ID. And a mobile ID is basically a unique device off of your mobile device here, right? Your phone or iPhone, Android, whatever. And essentially, you had all these apps for a long time, and some in some cases today as well, that were taking your location, taking your behavior, taking your online pattern, and selling it without your consent. To ton of data brokers, to all these third-party data assets, and technically, it's a cookieless solution. Right. It has mobile IDs. You're able to target people on their mobile devices for display advertising, either in a browser or even display advertising through a ton of apps that have ads in them. Right. There's a ton of freemium type of apps, games, etc., where you have advertising in them. You have weather apps, that have advertising within them. So, that's essentially what comprised the cookieless space for the last decade. You have many today too that or I say cookieless and are pretty much focused on mobile ID audiences. People who have been to gyms, how are they getting that? They're using that mobile ID. What has fundamentally changed and is putting that space at risk is the updates that Apple has rolled out. So as Apple has made both has made a strategic kind of pivot and focus on privacy over the last, let's call it 2 years or so. One of the biggest things that they've done, which is certainly, I think, great for the consumer, is and if those that have an iPhone have seen the Ask app not to track pop-up that comes up, right? And essentially, Apple's point of view, which makes sense, is that if you're going to take Todd's, device usage and sell that and monetize it, which maybe Todd understands that if he's getting something for free, there's got to be something, right, where that he's given up. If you're doing that, that's fine, but at least ask, right? Say, give permission. And I think that's the non-consented location, non-consented, all those things I think were a big piece of why Apple said, hey, we're going to change that. So fast forward, that change rolled out sometime last year. And now that has happened, a lot of people, especially when you're wording like that, ask app not to track, you're going to have a lot of people saying, yeah, I don't know if I want to be tracked, right? So people have been saying, I don't want to be tracked. And because of that, the rate of new mobile IDs entering this space, the number of new people who are going to gyms is becoming less, right? And if it's mobile IDs, if I'm one of those companies that have had it for 10 years, I have my mobile IDs that I've collected for the last 10 years, but I may not have new signals because maybe that person that didn't know they were being tracked and I kept seeing they were going to the gym, and so therefore I use that as a gym audience. Maybe they said ask app not to track on a couple of the apps that they used. And so now I don't know that person is back in the gym. So, there is still a lot of companies that use mobile IDs. There is a lot of mobile IDs out there that people have already collected, but new mobile IDs and signals that those IDs are back doing something else, that is what is being cut in half. I'm oversimplifying that rate, but we see everything from 40% to 70%. So let's just call it half of those signals are now being new signals are being lost. So very, very long-winded answer of level set on cookieless and what is it and what everyone's saying. But I think that mobile ID piece historically recognized as the cookieless solution is really not a good place to be investing in. Something that we certainly don't use that at all at Full Throttle, but that's also a big piece of understanding education around the space.
So in the industry, there's been a big sigh of relief, right? Because cookies going away in the news, it's been delayed. But
Yeah.
what you're teaching us today is there's a lot of work companies need to do on their own first party data